Mr. Clayton, there's been some discussion earlier about the importance of analytical integrity, telling truth to power. The Intelligence Community Directive 203, which goes back more than a decade, says this: independent, that any information from the intelligence community should be independent of political consideration. Analytic assessments must not be distorted by nor shaped by advocacy of a particular audience, agenda, or policy viewpoint. Analytic judgments must not be influenced by the force of preference for a particular policy. You concur with that, I presume?
Yes.
So I want to ask a follow-up question to the Vice Chairman. Who won the 2020 election?
I've answered that question. I'm not going to get into that.
You have not
anymore.
answered that question. Could you answer the question? Who won the 2020 election? Pretty simple question.
Yeah, I said
It's A or it's two
answer. No,
choices.
I'm going to give you the same answer. The answer to the chairman was, he asked me if I was an election denier. I am not an election denier. Joe Biden was certified as
we all know
president.
Joe Biden.
He went through his process. We went through our electoral process, and I can tell you that I was in my seat at the SEC, and
I'm just
worked
asking
hard
a
for the
really
transition.
simple question. Who won the 2020 election?
As I said to you, we went through our processes, and Joe Biden became the president of the United States. And that's
not an answer to the question of who. I'm asking one more time.
Okay.
Who won the 2020 election?
I'm not. This is like I'm here to talk about my qualifications.
One of your qualifications is you told us you're going to tell the truth to power, and you won't answer a very simple question.
I think I've answered it many times.
You have not answered it.
Okay.
You have not answered it. Saying Joe Biden was certified is not an answer. Okay. Why did you take it upon yourself to opine on the California election process to CNBC? You said during the interview on CNBC, you said the U.S. is doing an absolutely terrible job on election integrity, and the American people are right to question it. What's the basis of that statement? What's the evidence for that statement?
Let me give you the context of the way I look at this, because we should have this kind of candid dialogue. Elections are a process for gathering, aggregating, and providing data.
And who does the Constitution entrust the responsibility for elections?
To the states in the case we're talking about.
Correct.
To the states in the case we're talking about. But my experience at the SEC, my experience at the DOJ, my experience in the private sector is that the government processes for gathering, aggregating, and providing data need to be improved greatly.
Are you talking about elections?
I'm talking about
inflation data.
No, I'm talking about all government processes, including the one is.
I want some evidence, and there isn't time here in a minute and 49 seconds, but you have a lot of time between now and when we move on your nomination. I would like a written analysis from you that gives evidence of voter fraud.
I don't.
Fraud in this country, Mr. Clayton, is the assertion that there's voter fraud.
I am not. I did not make that assertion. I said I said
we're doing an absolutely terrible job on election integrity. What did that mean?
That meant that the audit trail that we have available for our elections in a number of places is not the kind of audit trail that you would expect in something that is this important. That's what it meant. And I mean,
so, is there a problem of voter fraud in this country?
I don't think we can say definitively whether there is or is not until we have better processes.
We've had hundreds of analyses. We've had the Heritage Foundation study that found 1,650 cases out of 2 billion votes counted.
I would love for the American people to have incredible confidence in the integrity of our elections.
I would too, and I would appreciate it if this administration would cease undermining that confidence.
I would like to work with this committee from my perspective.
Well, for the record, I wish you would share any evidence you have that undermines that asserts that there was any problem of voter fraud significant enough to change the results of an election in this country. Following up, why was your hearing postponed? What were you told? You were going to meet with us in a few hours, and suddenly it was pulled down. Why did that happen?
I was requested and respected the request not to attend.
Were you given any reason?
I'm not going to get into the private conversations.
And you testified earlier, just to follow up briefly, you've had no involvement whatsoever with this proposed speech tomorrow night by the president. None, you haven't been consulted, discussed, any involvement. Is that correct?
That is correct.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Support journalism you trust. Support PBS News. Donate now, or even better, start a monthly contribution today.